Okay, I think we're live. Hey, everybody, this is Cameron from Obnoxious and Anonymous, and welcome to tonight's Twin Peaks video. That's right, you're getting 2 in 1 week. Tonight's video is to cover what happened basically today. Yesterday, Joey and I, who's here again, thank you very much for coming here, Joey.
Of course.
We discussed a bunch of the rumors and things people were suggesting, and that was happening in the Twin Peaks community. And then more came out today. So here we are. And we already are at 70 people watching us. So, and also down below, we have Mandy making her triumphant comeback.
The return of Mandy.
Hello.
You said, I will not come back until there's actually something to discuss. And so here you are.
Okay, I didn't. I'm just busy. But I'm very glad to be here.
Show everybody your new cat before we start.
Okay, let's see. Where is she? Where are you? Where are you, honey?
Oh.
Hi, honey. This is Bella.
Bella.
And she purrs like a truck. It's amazing. So there's Bella.
Very cute.
Okay.
Absolutely adorable.
Thank you.
All right. So since you are, you haven't been on for a while, you saw yesterday's news, or when I say news, I mean in parentheses here, because a lot of the news is basically all of us talking about it. But what was your initial thought reaction when you saw what was the first thing you saw? The Hollywood Horror Museum post, or?
Yeah, I saw that first, and then I kind of went through the different because they posted a few different tweets like in the comments, and I don't know, like I never lost faith. Like I always knew it was going to come back. When I watched the finale, I sat there with my friends and I was like, this is not over. It's not. It can't be. They cannot do that to us. Lynch and all his craziness and how he handles things and how he shapes stories, it just doesn't seem like he would do that to us. Not like it's all about us, but you know what I mean? Like there was something about the endings, excuse me. It just didn't sit right with me. So I'm happy for the news. I'm not overly surprised, and I'm super excited for what's to come.
So let me ask you this. Do you think, all right, let's say there is another season coming. Do you think that season 4, we'll just call it that, season 4, is an actual like new season, or do you think it's created to be sort of, like when like Mad Men or the Shield like does like season 5 and then they do season 5.2? Do you think that this is sort of I get the feeling that this is going to be the back half of season 3 as opposed to a season 4. Like I think it's going to be like the back 9 episodes that they always talk about, when you when a season drops.
Yeah, I mean it could be. I've always just thought that they filmed so much stuff and left a good third of it out and have enough to make something new. Like I don't really know if they're actually going to be filming new stuff. If it's going to take a really long time. I just feel like they had so much stuff that they're creating the rest of the story with what they have.
Because if there is 90 minutes of deleted scenes just from Fire Walk With Me, theoretically, what could they have from an 18-hour production? Well, actually,
exactly.
16 and a half hour production, because I've thrown it all on an editing timeline before. Believe me, it's only 16 and a half hours. But still, it is a long piece of work here. This is just my crazy theory. I brought this up last night. I'm still going to stick by it. I don't think that what we're going to get in 2020 is an announcement. I could be wrong, but I don't think it's going to be an announcement of we're now going to start working on it. We'll see in 3 years. I think that they've spent the last 3 years making this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they've done it. I think they shot all the exteriors, maybe not with people staying around doing stuff out in Washington or wherever, but I think they did all the establishing shots while they were up there. Because they did that for season 1. They shot everything during the pilot. They sent up some people to get some extra scenery shots, whatever, and then they shot everything indoors. And how do you keep the TMZ and the fans and the paparazzi from snapping pictures of anything? You close everything down and you go inside the studios. And Laura Palmer's living room was a set for the first 2 seasons. So they don't have to go up to the Palmer house to shoot stuff. They can just replicate it in the warehouse. Mm-hmm. They did that all season 1 and 2, the whole thing. I've never seen actual pictures of this, but I would love to know, because I've heard discussions of like how you could walk through the Double R diner and then turn right and be in Laura Palmer's living room, and then you would go left and be in the sheriff's station. Mm-hmm. They had it all coordinated that way, and I think that's brilliant. I would love to see pictures and videos of that. But let's be honest here, Lynch Frost Productions, they have the plans of how how that show was created. I'm sure it's not like they just discarded them. So why can't they replicate it? And then other people online are saying, well, I have contacts with the cast and everything, and I haven't heard anything. Yeah, well, most of the cast that's out there on social media are the people who are dead in the show, like George Griffith, for instance, or it's the Vegas storyline, which is completed. So they're not going to know anything. Like Joey and I were talking about, the only people that need to know are Kyle, Cheryl, Grace Zabriskie, David Lynch, Krista Bell, who was the other? Laura Dern. None of those 6. That's David Lynch's inner circle, right? Yeah. And Cheryl Lee is not on social media as far as we're aware of. Maybe she has a secret account like some of the people do, but as far as we know, she doesn't have social media. So nobody knows, like, except for like, when she's doing an acting class or a convention. We don't know where she is. So they could easily have been making this Carrie Page movie like he did with Laura Dern for Inland Empire for 3 years. Mm-hmm. And then surprise, here you go. Here's our companion piece to Fire Walk with Me, the Carrie Page story. Or it could be a million things, but
yeah, you seem to talk a lot about how you think it's going to be like the Carrie Page story. Why do you think that?
Because at the Emmys, he was talking a lot about Carrie Page, saying he's been thinking a lot about her. And if you really think about it, to give Cheryl Lee a whole new, potentially a whole new character in the last 30 minutes of 3 seasons and a movie, basically, and then just give her in the last 30 minutes another persona. Yes, you could say, yes, it's Laura and another, just doesn't realize she's Laura. That's fine. But if it is actually a new person created or whatever, that is something that you could explore. And considering the ending implications of erasing the original timeline, well, you have Cooper and Carrie or Richard or whatever you want to call them. They're free to go do wherever they want. They've completely opened up the canvas. And season 3 took this little story about this little town and made it worldwide. We can go to Paris. We can go to New York. We can go to Buckhorn. We can go all Buenos Aires. We can go all these. They've opened it up to go anywhere. Mm-hmm. And how many times have you seen David Lynch and Kyle and Laura Dern all of a sudden together, like in some strange city, taking a picture together? It's like, that's what they did with Inland Empire. They went to Poland and started shooting things. So who knows what they've been doing? I really want to be surprised and be like, oh yeah, by the way, we've done like, this movie, or we did a 6-episode little thing, or whatever. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would be surprised if like you said, like if they announced filming, it just seems like they've just had so much time to do stuff that announcing it now would be kind of weird, because they've been radio silent for like 3 years.
Not only that, but like we were saying the other day, Kimmy Robertson's gone quiet. Sabrina's gone quiet for a while, long time.
Yeah.
David Lynch, he's always been quiet, but Mark Frost talks about really anything but Twin Peaks.
Except Frost is always.
That's not unusual.
Although today there's all these rumors going around, and he posts something about the Twin Peaks box set. It's like, it's like deliberate trolling. Or like Kyle MacLachlan, again, like we've talked off air about how it drives me nuts sometimes that Kyle doesn't talk about Twin Peaks for 20 years and then he's just tweeting up a storm all the time.
Mhm.
But then you contacted me the other day and said, hey, have you seen this shot of him on the green screen? Isn't this a new shot? And I was like thinking, well, I don't know, but it might be a new image from the upcoming box set or something like that.
Well, yeah, like I assume it's when he's falling in the purple space.
That's what I think.
Yeah, but
should
I'd
be.
never seen that before. And I was like, why are you doing this now? Like, it's just, there's too many.
I don't think that they stopped filming. Because remember, even after they wrapped season 3, they still went to Paris and shot the Monica Bellucci thing. You know, they used
That was after they were done?
After they were done. Lynch got invited to do show off some of his art in Paris, and so they made a trip out of it and shot that in Paris. That wasn't even in the schedule. That was added.
But,
I'd be
I
curious.
mean, like, Laura, sorry, Joey.
No, go
Laura
ahead, go
herself has been, like, super busy. So,
Who?
Laura Dern has been really busy. So
All she has to do is show up every once in a while and peek behind a wall or something like that. I mean, they don't really have to do too much with her.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, Joey. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, do you think maybe this new thing is you'll see where Carrie Page picked up when Cooper brought her back, and then it might they'll do a lead up to that scene the first scene we see her with the guy in the sofa and her opening the door to Cooper, and then maybe pick up at the house. Like maybe they'll do a little lead up of Carrie Page, like where she's been since they crossed over, and then lead up to that scene. And
to be honest, that sounds too normal. What I think it's going to end up being.
I mean, yeah,
I think this thing is going to be batshit nuts.
I think if they do that, I think it'll be maybe the first 20 minutes, if that. Just to say, like, to show you what happened when he was leading her through the forest and she disappeared.
Well, yeah, and I'd like to see a story of Carrie Page, who is actually Laura.
Mm-hmm.
How she transitions back into Laura, like how she, if she ends up when she ends up in Twin Peaks with Cooper or Richard or whoever the hell that was, meeting townspeople and slowly, bringing back memories and then her finally realizing who she actually is, which is Laura, and because she never died, and like pull in the book somehow, even though I'm not a fan of the book, not a big fan of the book. I don't know. I still want Laura, I still want Laura Palmer in this thing, however that looks. So
I don't think they're going to give that up, considering that an episode in season 3 was called Laura's the One. And we got a lot of flack for our initial reaction to that episode because we were like, well, if Laura's the one, why isn't this episode about Laura? All we got was her big head at the door. And when I say big head, it's because they took that image from Fire Walk with Me with her at Donna's door and actually widened it out so that her head got stretched out. It was ridiculous. And it drives me nuts.
Has anyone ever come up with a good theory or any type of reasoning as to what that was all about?
If Gordon remembers the official timeline and Laura disappears, but he remembers her being dead, but in actuality she disappeared, because it's all fluid, right? If Cooper saves Laura, then it had to have happened earlier. Do you know what I mean? Like it's all the timelines happening at once. That's why we get all of them in the woods at Jack Rabbit's palace. You see like 4 or 5 of them in the woods. That's why all the patrons in the diner keep flipping around, and it's not just a mistake. A lot of people say like, well, that's a mistake. That was a continuity mistake. No, because if you watch carefully, Machen Amick turns around and notices and then shakes it off and keeps walking.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it was done.
It's like the kind of like a Mandela effect kind of thing, where it's like, wasn't somebody else sitting there? Maybe no. Okay, just like this passing weird deja vu kind of thing.
Right.
Well, what do you guys? If Carrie Page is the focus of this, what do you guys want to see happen with her?
To be honest, I really don't even know what to do with her, because I felt that the point of her character was to make her like Laura Palmer is sort of at this point a mythic character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the point of Carrie Page was that she was like demystified. She's just a plain Jane person in like this backwards town in Texas. You know, there's nothing really remotely interesting about her.
I don't know.
Apart from the dead guy on her couch,
That's
come
what
on,
I'm
there's
saying.
something there.
But that's not. But that's not her. But that's not her. That's a dead person. And I mean, like, I'm just saying, in terms of personality, we don't know anything about her. She's sort of an empty vessel.
I think, yeah, that's why I want to see what happens when she clicks over. Does she like just, you know, wake up when Cooper opens the door and it's like she's been living sort of autonomously until like maybe something brought her back into I mean, until she gets to the house, maybe then she remembers, depending on how you interpret that scene. But
so are you saying that you think that, like, you want to see if she was part of the other timeline?
No, I don't know what I'd want to see. I don't know what you could do. I don't think you can. You'd have to just make up a whole thing for her. I don't think there's anything in the last part of episode 18 that you could draw from, except for the dead person, which is supposed to be a reminder of Bob with the horse on the mantle and things like that. I think they're going to end. But here's the thing. I don't know how much Kyle shot for this, because I think that they may want to go more towards a Fire Walk With Me vibe and have him in it more prominently than Fire Walk With Me. But I don't think it's going to be the Kyle and Cheryl show. I think it's going to be, if they do a movie, it's going to be the Cheryl Lee movie, I believe.
That's why I think they might.
As long as it's not Diane, as long as it's not all about Diane, because I will freak out.
That's why I think they might do a little bit before Cooper shows up, and then maybe continue that story with both of them later on. Maybe that's what the split season is. I don't know.
Right. So
that's good. I like that. Yeah.
Well, I always thought when they announced 18 episodes for season 3, I always thought we were going to get 9 for season 3, and then the back 9 was going to be season 4. I thought they were going to split it up, but they didn't do that.
I mean, it's still such a strange thing that they even did that, because, I mean, cable they don't have 18 episode seasons. It's just not what they do. So what was so special or great about this that, I mean, obviously we love it, but you know what I mean? Like, in their planning, what made them decide that we're just going to run the whole thing all at once? It's kind of odd.
Because if you think about it, the ideal place to stop it would have been after episode 8. That's the end of season 3, and then season 4 is the rest. Because if you ended it with a black and white episode, and the last thing you saw was a Wisma walking into the darkness, and you heard a horse whinny, that's an incredible way to wrap up a shortened season like that.
But that's what I mean. Like, it's just odd because Showtime is, consistently just like 10 to 12 episodes. So I wonder why they didn't stretch it out.
And then part 18 would have been the first episode of season 4, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I still believe the first scene in season 3 is one of the first scenes of season 4, because
I agree.
Kyle has no idea about Richard and Linda until the end of the movies, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, like I said, time is interchangeable. So we have a lot of people in the chat right now. We have over 200 people watching us live. It's fantastic.
What's up, everyone?
Wow.
People are, though, what's the news? What's today's news? Well, there's no real news because nothing really happened except one thing, big thing. And no, I'm not talking about Kyle tweeting about wanting a donut. Although it is another peculiar thing to do, especially on Joey's show. He said it's coffee day and he posts a donut.
I'm like, why wouldn't you post about coffee? It was supposed to be National Coffee Day, and he posted about it. I feel like the missed opportunity. At least.
Here's the big news. Here's the big news, in my opinion, and then we'll get to what the title of the video is. For the last couple of days, it's been these little blogs or the Hollywood Horror Museum, which apparently Jennifer Lynch, I don't know this for a fact, from what I understand, Jennifer Lynch is still a board member there. Okay. And they're tweeting out the thing saying, hey, we've heard some stuff about a possible Twin Peaks something. Well, this morning, Newsweek drops an article. Newsweek. It's pretty prominent magazine, or an online site. And they don't confirm anything, obviously, but they're saying, there's rumors going around about a possible season 4. Okay, so if you know anything about, like, because we were talking about marketing yesterday, right, Joey?
Mm-hmm.
Look,
This is how they market now.
Yeah. But the other thing is, that would mean that Showtime and Lynch Frost Productions, CBS, whoever, somebody would have till about 5 p.m. Eastern time to refute this, or just calm it down, because people are getting all uppity about it. And this is more uppity than during the whole San Diego Comic-Con Amy Shields moment that happened a year and a half ago.
Oh yeah, that was so annoying.
Anyway, whatever. That was a harsh night for all of us. Remember when Mr. C just started crying like uncontrollably when like the bad news came out? Anyway, okay. Well, they didn't refute it. The articles lasted all day long, and no one's come out to say anything pro or against it. And as we all know, silence speaks volumes. It doesn't take much. Like when Amy Shields posted that thing saying about San Diego Comic-Con, Sabrina was out on the pages letting people know, hey, don't get too excited, right? When Kino Lorber is going to drop Lost Highway, Lynch has no problem coming out and saying his dissatisfaction with it. When David Lynch got caught up in all that Trump drama, they came out right away about it. This is at a fever pitch right now. Everybody's now talking about it. Even Michael Horse is posting pictures with the and all that, right? Look, it may not mean season 4. It may not be a movie. It may not, but there is something literally going on. There was one of the editors of Birth Movies Death posted today saying, like, I have been shown the evidence by people that are close to me, and I firmly believe that something is now happening.
It's also a little coincidental that the Chromatics are dropping their new album tonight.
Right.
And they were on, 2 episodes of The Return? So, and
also, what's it called? Rock and Shock October, the convention, a week and a half ago, posted that Cheryl Lee is now unavailable to attend due to filming. Now, that could be a car commercial. I mean, that could be whatever. But the fact is that when all of these things are happening all at once, it's like David Lynch talks about on Charlie Rose when he's promoting Lost Highway. That sometimes you get a yellow light, sometimes you get a red light, sometimes you get a green light when it comes to creativity. And if all these people who are affiliated with this brand and affiliated with Lynch are all of a sudden, because they've been dormant for a while, getting jobs and things are popping and things are happening, and then people are used to be on social media are not on social media, and then you're getting all these rumors. It's because there is movement happening in that circle. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter if they're filming this or that or whatever. It's the fact is there is kinetic energy happening in this circle, and every single Twin Peaks fan is feeling it, even the naysayers. And there's a lot of big name naysayers out there, and I'm not going to call anyone out, but because I mean, to each their own. But there's a lot of people saying I don't believe anything until Lynch and Frost say anything. That's fine. That's fine. To each their own. Yeah. But don't go around and poo people for being happy. One thing that I set out on Twitter today, and tons of people agree with me, is that even if this is completely bogus, which I don't think for a second this is, but even if nothing happens right now, because we all know Twin Peaks eventually will come back. It's too big of a brand to just let it die out forever.
Cha-ching.
But even if it's completely bogus right now and nothing happens, as a community, as a fan community, I don't think that we've been as happy since season 3 being on today. I mean, people are running wild, on Twitter. They're in the streets screaming. They're saying, and it's all in joy. It's all in joy. Mm-hmm. And speaking of joy, we have our next guest, which is Jeremiah from Take the Ring. He is known as the Luke Perry of the Twin Peaks community. He is the Dylan McKay Every time he shows up on my show, I get tons of messages from women saying, "Is he available?" So
No.
you're wedded to your work. Is
Well, yeah, there's that too. I'm married twice.
okay. So, Jeremiah, you've watched yesterday's video with Joey and I. You've been tracking everything today. Just give it to us right now. Gut instinct. Don't worry about Lynch and Frost saying something, not saying something. What's your gut tell you right now? Newsweek article drops. Nobody says anything. I say silence speaks 1,000 words. Go for it. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything that you guys said yesterday. And I mean, I don't know. I've been kind of living in denial. Not denial, but just like you've got like, you know, the Lynch tweeting from the Salish Lodge was like, okay, what? Mm-hmm. And, you know, so there's the Lynch tweet. There was the Hollywood horror thing. And I was kind of like everybody else, like, okay, who are these guys? Like, then you kind of look at it, it's like, well, hey, maybe. So, I mean, but I haven't been like, you know, anxiously waiting. It's just like now all this stuff happens. It's like, yeah, totally. Like if they're not like, you know, and like you guys said yesterday, if every rumor that comes out gets quashed and this one hasn't. So, yeah, rock and roll.
Yeah.
What do you think though about? Do you think they're gonna announce, "Hey, we're gonna be shooting something," or do you think they've already been shooting something? I firmly believe it's done. It's been way too long. I mean, they've had enough time to do it. Come on.
I don't think that if there's a series, okay, if there's a movie, then that is potentially like done or close to being done, or because that's something that you could do kind of under the radar or whatever. But then I was going to ask you, like, isn't everything now, as soon as there's any kind of money involved or any kind of studio commitment at all, doesn't that shit go right onto IMDb right away? It's like we already know when things are in production.
Yeah, but not if they're shooting it under a different title.
Yeah, but you would think it's like, or a different name. Like, I mean, so here's what I'm like excited about when like totally could respect is if this comes out and yeah, that they did do it completely. They did something completely under the radar without people seeing it on IMDb, without the David Lynch and Kyle people, stalker crazy fans finding out. Like if they really pulled this off, I mean, that's kind of what I'm more excited about. I could really care less like what they give us. I'm just excited that somebody's doing something and people are.
Well, do you know the
denying it, you know?
Do you know the reviewer? He used to be on Ain't It Cool News. He went by the name Moriarty, but now Drew McQueen, basically.
Yeah.
You know, him and his wife, and I don't know if he had his son at the time or yet, but a friend of his came to him and said, "Hey, you know, my friend's making you know, a small little film. Can we shoot a scene or two in your house?" And he's like, "I guess, whatever." And then he noticed that Inland Empire, there's a scene in his house. So like David Lynch was just running around to like film reviewers' apartments and like shooting Inland Empire in there, and they didn't really even know.
That's what I'm starting to think, that they're just using more of a running gun crew than they did with The Return, if they are.
Well, here's the thing we talked about yesterday. I understand it might just be a vacation thing, but again, it's coincidences, all these coincidences at once, right? Peter Deming tweeting from the Falls last spring, right? It makes sense. Have him go up there with a few people and shoot some more exteriors, you know, for a different season. You know,
that's what I think.
And you know, again, even if you're on vacation, you could see Lynch saying, "Take a camera with you." You know what I mean? Like, grab some. I can see them doing it.
If they do it though, like, I'll have never seen anything like this go down before. Which I guess that's what I'm back to saying it's why I'm excited, because it's like I think it's awesome if that TMZ thing like really pissed everybody off, and Lynch just like clamped down, like you said, like Blue Harvest. We're giving it a fake name. We're not telling anybody anything. We're gonna rent a warehouse in Saskatchewan, and that's it.
Well, you saw the behind the scenes of season 3, right? I mean, what does he complain about the whole time? We talked about this yesterday. It's the schedule. It's the time. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time. We're rushing this. Well, if they own the sound stages and there's no, like when he said, if there's going to be another season, it won't be for 3 or 4 years. Okay, well, then he's giving himself so much time, and probably with a limited cast, because they're not going big with this probably, if it is already done. So you shoot a little bit here, a little bit there. David Lynch can shoot, for 2 days for one scene if he wants to, and really get dreamy. And I that's what I think is going on. I think he has spent this whole time, not every day, but I think he's spent quite a bit of time just kind of doing a little this, doing a little that, and it's going to piece together. It may not be a full series. It's definitely not going to be an 18 episode thing, but I can see 4 to 6 episodes or one big 3-hour movie.
Hell, they might be on to reshoots already, and that's why Cheryl Lee had to cancel, because it was unexpected, and she has to go reshoot some scenes or some extra scenes. Lynch was like, I got something else you need to do. But
also,
I'm sure she would drop it.
And since the rumors are now going around, maybe they didn't want these rumors to come out. Maybe it did slip. So now I do too, but I also think that there's probably a part of them like, oh crap, now people are getting wind of this. So now we gotta start.
These threads are starting.
We're gonna have to make it a little tighter if we're gonna, because we can't really listen. Lynch can take Laura Dern and run around the world doing Inland Empire, but now you say Twin Peaks, everyone's got a recording device now.
Inland Empire in Twin Peaks.
I have a feeling that's what we're gonna get. I don't think it's gonna be visually Inland Empire, but I think it's going to be that crazy. I think Cooper and Carrie Page are gonna be crisscrossing in and out of consciousness and time zones, and
I'm sticking with the idea that they're going with like a run and gun kind of crew. It's not going to be maybe as clean as the last season looked, because the return looked fairly clean and crisp. And
you could argue sometimes too clean.
I know there's a lot of people that say the Black Lodge looked too bright, too shiny.
Well, there was no mood to it. That's the problem with it. But then again, the stuff that was happening in the Black Lodge didn't need mood, but because it was just kind of plain one-armed man, talking to him in the chair, but it certainly did not look like season 2 with the shadows and Jimmy Scott singing and things like that.
It's so good.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess there's always somebody wanting us to. One of the big critiques we got yesterday's show is that you don't have a naysayer on here. Because I just think that to deny all of this and say that nothing's happening, I don't know. I don't think you're really quite paying attention. And also the other thing is, we talked about yesterday, October 6th, 2014 was the day they dropped that season 3 was coming out. That's 5 days from now. So you give it a week. You give it a week of rumors, and then October 6th, they announced it at 10:10 a.m. on a simultaneous tweet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want to say it's the 10th month of the year, so I mean, if you want to go down that way and kind of be cute about it.
None of those. That does not work at all. It was February 16th at 10:10 a.m. We got 10s. That's it. It doesn't work. Though I appreciate you trying.
Oh no, I don't. I just
no. I know. I'm just
everybody
joking.
wants to be cute about it. I guess they could do that.
I'll be a naysayer for Cameron thinking that something will drop on October 6th. There, I'll bring the negativity.
Okay. Do you think then that you think they're gonna do it like they did last time and wait for the box set to come out and then say it?
No.
Because that's a running joke right now in the community, is that they're going to announce this right after the box set like they did last time.
And you know what? They very well could. I don't know. The October 6th thing, I don't really, I'm not going to jump on that train, but you never know, right? None of us have any idea, but we're excited. Whatever news we get, whenever we get it, that's
Okay,
good
so
enough.
so let's. I was talking to Joey about this yesterday, but let me get Mandy and Jeremiah's opinion on this. This is definitely not another book coming out, right? The news is too big for that.
Agreed.
Okay. The news is probably too big too in regards to a new Fire Walk with Me cut, right? Because why on earth would Hollywood Horror Museum being like, this is going to be the thing that's going to psych everyone up? Because no one's going to get excited about another cut of Fire Walk with Me unless it's like, got 2 more hours of footage we've never seen before.
I mean, I'd still buy it anyway, regardless of what it is, even if they had like an extra 30 seconds. But yeah, but this is not a Fire Walk with Me thing.
All right, so let's go through and let's see collectively, because my brain is just fried right now. But what are all the things that we can say for sure are the coincidences right now? We have Hollywood Horror Museum dropping something, right? We have Chromatics dropping their album today.
Mm-hmm. Michael Horst.
Michael Horst's tweet.
Michael Horst. That was the real
That was the one that got everyone going crazy. I believe Jeremiah said that was the one that was like, okay, something is happening here.
Yeah, that's the one that
isn't it, Margaret?
Yeah.
Matt in the chat says season 3 deleted scenes. I think this is too big for that right now. I think if you're going to do season 3 deleted scenes, they're going to be incorporated into this
it's
new
called
thing.
season 4.
Yeah, like I think it seems like it would have to be a story, that they'd create a story from what was cut, but who knows? Okay.
So Cooper. That's how synonymous there. Kyle has said that the original script for The Return had more winks and nods to Cooper coming out a little earlier. Maybe not fully, but just, do you think they can still, did they shoot that stuff, or is that just a script? Like, do you think that there's things in there that they could utilize somehow and turn that into a Richard type of... Richard and Dougie are 2 separate people, or different ways Kyle played them. So I don't think they could even reuse the footage for that.
I was saying they might have planned out way further down the line, especially with the Carrie Page and Richard stuff. I think they had that mapped out when they were, writing season 3.
Some people are convinced that there's more Sherilyn Fenn footage out there. I'm not convinced that at all. I think they may shoot some more stuff with her, but I don't think that. You interviewed her. Do you get the vibe that she shot more than they had, Jeremiah?
Yeah,
you do
a little bit. So we didn't get into specifics. I talked to her about a bunch of different stuff, and but definitely. I don't know if there were like additional scenes, but she referred to like them being able to play a little bit. So like, I guess that they were kind of spitballing ideas and trying out some different stuff. So, I don't know if it's anything cohesive enough that could be, stitched together into a scene. And maybe it all revolved around, maybe all the shooting revolved around that scene, right? In the living room with the husband or maybe husband or whatever. And
well, can you confirm that she was supposed to be originally in the grandmother scene when Richard comes in and tries to hurt them? Was she the original? That's what I had always heard. And that she didn't want to do that. And so they changed it to being the grandmother.
Okay, well... Not exactly, but kind of. So I brought that up to her. I said, hey, this didn't make it into my final interview, and I'm going to put out the full interview at some point down the road. But I said, hey, I thought that, it was one of the reasons you didn't like your part because of that thing. And she said she didn't confirm or deny it. She said she couldn't remember exactly, but she did say it had to do with the hair salon and she wasn't feeling it. And she said something to the effect of like, I think I would have remembered. It's funny because she said what you've always said. She goes, I think I would have remembered if there was a confrontation, I believe. She's like, I think there was a confrontation that he showed up at my hair salon, possibly. But I think I would have remembered him like physically assaulting me, that character, and I don't think Audrey would have put up with that shit.
Well, that's what I was always saying. But then again, Charlotte Fenn has also said that she was watching the show and realized that that guy was her son. Like she acts like she didn't even know that she was supposed to have a son in the in the show.
So it's so weird. Like, and I'm sure all the actors have their own kind of take on it. But she told me, she was like, man, like, you know, and then you watched, well, no. She said that I don't know if, I'm sure she watched some of it, but she says she doesn't like to watch her own work. And she basically hears about the show through people and fans and stuff. So she's like, you know, at conventions or at different things. And like, she goes, I didn't know that they went through with that and that he was my son. I didn't know that Cooper supposedly raped Audrey and all this stuff. So like,
what?
Yeah, she didn't know. It wasn't in the script. Her script pages were just you and this guy in the living room going at it, right?
So they didn't actually film anything in like a hair salon set then, right?
No, not to my knowledge. Well, I mean,
that was just in the book,
right? But that because it was in the book, and because it wasn't in the show, and because we found out later that Sherilyn Fenn had disagreements about that, then it was more or less, I mean, not through Lynch, but more or less confirmed that, yeah, they can kind of like, they came up with a new story for her. So Frost ended up doing the hair salon thing in the book because I think that was the original intention.
And it's still there. I mean, if you break down the final dossier's chapter on her and you dismantle it and you look at it like surrealistically, all the elements are in the show. The idea of the husband and the fact that she's looking at a hair salon mirror at the end in the, you know, because it's not going to be in an institution. You're not going to get a glass mirror in your room like that. So it seems like they just kind of made it more like just visually weird, but it's the same kind of elements. They just made it more of like a internal dream in it.
Yeah. In the final dossier, Charlie is her husband that she married out of kind of like convenience. I can't remember if he was her accountant or lawyer. Right. So, you know, I think they just kind of took the seeds of that idea and twisted it and took the opportunity of her not being thrilled about it, took the opportunity to rewrite something that is more up Lynch's alley, I think, as far as what he wanted the show. Because like I said, I think it's kind of like the Winky scene in Mulholland Drive and some other things where it's what does Lynch call it? The eye of the duck or whatever, where it's like a small part of something bigger that kind of like sums up the whole story. So I think the Audrey stuff is like because is it a dream? Is this all in her head? Is this like some kind of repressed trauma that she's working all this stuff out in her head? I mean, you could argue that's what the whole return is about anyway.
Well, I always took it as her realization at the end is basically she's holed up wherever the doppelganger was storing Diane. Because she said, the Tulpa says, you know, I was taken to a place above the convenience store. So, all right, we have another guest, believe it or not. This is Lorne. He's a new person to this channel, but he does have a YouTube channel, Visited by Voices 1, I believe it's called. And then he's also on the Sausage Factory with me. So come on in, Lorne. How's it going?
Very good. How are you?
Good. Now, you are another person who went from, I don't know, to now you believe it 100%. How did this evolution happen? Because I know you are a huge David Lynch Twin Peaks fan as well.
Yeah, no, I just saw way too many coincidences happening in way too short of a time. And I think there's more of a pattern to it than perhaps at first looks. I think this is a game that's being played. It would be really exceptional for this many things to be coming together without something happening. And it has to be something big. They wouldn't go through this kind of effort for something less than a season.
Yeah.
So what are some of the coincidences that stood out to you as like, yes, because your last message to me is seatbelts on, let's go.
Yeah. So I think it's just all of the clues or the hints have escalated from the vaguest of, oh, something is going on that's going to make us happy, to a picture that's very interpretable, to Kyle MacLachlan posting kind of an in-the-face reference to the point where, if Cheryl Lee's canceling conventions for filming, every step of the way it's getting more explicit. I'll tell you what, though, I would not be surprised if this isn't a really huge game, and that shipping with the box set won't be the announcement inside the box. Because if they're willing to have fun with it, it might be too easy to just suddenly announce it in a press release.
So you don't think the October 6th, which is the day they dropped the information about season 3 back in 2014, that's 5 days away. You don't think they're going to replay history and say it's happening again?
I think if there was... So there's two things there. If there was a good creative reason to do it, if the date was relevant inside the world of Twin Peaks for a very specific reason, I could believe that would play, but I don't see that. If there was a commercial reason for Showtime, such as that was sweeps week or something for them, or that's the date they're going to set their new rates, then maybe.
Right.
But honestly, I don't think it's going to be, I don't think the planning of that makes quite as much difference. I think it'll be a very strategic release. But I just think also, if we're assuming that Lynch is as involved in this as he has been in the past, and that might not be true. That's the other thing we have to face. This might be more along the lines of season 2 in that regard. And that might not be a bad thing. I think the first half of season 2 is really some of my favorite Twin Peaks.
Well, we talked about that last night, that the fact that Tim Hunter, Leslie Lika Glatter, directors who worked on the first series are like Showtime darlings. And she did Homeland for so many years. So I mean, it would make sense to, and they were all at the premiere for the 2-hour premiere when they showed at the theater. So it would make sense to incorporate the loyal people who were there with you during season 1, which is arguably the most triumphant season they did before season 3. People, nobody has faults with season 1.
No, it's just actually not my favorite of Twin Peaks in the long run. Of what I rewatch, I've seen it too much, I think, at this point. But I will tell you the one thing that comes in mind looking at this and what the future might hold for Twin Peaks. I wouldn't be shocked if we're not looking at a conventional season, and perhaps we're going to get an episode with a month and a half before we get another episode, and it gets drawn out for a longer period of time. Because again, Lynch would probably like the freedom, and Showtime would love to be able to keep the subscribers for an extended period of time without an announcement of when it's actually over. So the idea of it being a season might even be a past tense at this point, and it might just be an ongoing concern, whereas we get an hour and 10 minutes in January of next year, and we get, it might be March before we get the next, but that might be 2.5 hours. There might not be a framework that's as strict as we've seen before.
Well, remember, that was the original plan for season 3, from what I understood, was that they shot the whole thing as one big thing, and then they were going to decide, like, this episode would be 37 minutes, this episode would be an hour 18 minutes. They ended up not doing that and basically making it hour-long things with the Roadhouse musical endings and stuff like that. So you think that they might go to that and just make, like, some smaller episodes, some longer episodes? I personally think that would be the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, I'm a big supporter of the idea, too. I also think it would open up the idea of doing a random access myth for Twin Peaks. And by that, I mean almost an anthology show, whereas they could have any given episode take place in any different time period along the spectrum, or in any of the versions of reality in the show. For me, it's not dimensions or worlds. I think it's a show within a show within a show. The same way that Invitation to Love was the show within the original Twin Peaks, I believe that Twin Peaks is the show within season 3. And I think there's a lot of evidence for that. But that would allow, if they're going to take a more anthology view of Twin Peaks, they could set any episode in any period. And ultimately, as we get to the end of whatever this is going to look like, maybe they start to have that world collapse in on itself and it becomes one reality at some point.
Well, that's what everyone thought was going to happen with season 3. They thought that the Rancho Rosa Vegas stuff was in another reality altogether,
Still could be.
It still could be.
Yeah.
I think it was going that way, and it was changed at some point.
Yes. I considering that the police are investigating the explosion of Dougie's car like 5 episodes after the fact that it blew up, it's like very strange to me. But I think, they could easily we talked about last night, doing an episode about Gordon and Philip's first Blue Rose case. They could, that's the X-Files spinoff waiting to happen right there. I really think that they opened up season 3, opened up the world so big that to just do nothing with it afterwards is like, what are you doing? It's way too big.
That's my biggest hope I don't even think it's a fear of mine, but just I hope it's that. Like, I hope it's a creative, season 3 is so kind of turned TV and episodes kind of like flip that whole thing. Like, is it a movie? Is it a show? It would be so cool to do a series where like all bets are off. Like, this is coming out on Tuesday. Like he said, you're going to get one a month, or you're going to get one every couple of weeks. And one's going to be, Major Briggs as a young man working on Project Blue Book. And the next one's going to be, Carrie and Richard floating out in the ether. And you know what I mean? Like, that would
and I still think there's so much from the world they showed in episode 8 that they could still explore too. Now, Lauren, why do you think Showtime is dropping this new box set, one in November, one in December, with only 2 episodes in 4K? Why is the pilot in episode 8 the only episodes in 4K? Obviously, we're going to get another box set in a year or two, right? That's all 4K, probably.
Well, I think we need to know exactly what the episode was actually shot on and what it was mastered at before we have a good answer to that. Because I have a feeling that there was a lot of different formats used throughout the season. It might be just a case of you're going to have various quality levels for different episodes, and there's ways around that, but I think they want to see if it'll sell. If that's a big enough concern that it'll sell. Like, for myself, hate to say it, I own everything Twin Peaks, and I'm not a special features guy. So guess what? I'm not buying either of the boxes, right? Because I'm not really getting anything. The 4K would push me there if the price tag wasn't where it's at, maybe.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a little pricey for something that everybody already owns.
It's very pricey for something. And the other thing is, it's kind of hard to justify really paying very much for the first 2 seasons at all, considering how long we've owned them and how many multiple formats we've already purchased them on. Mm-hmm. Very hard to say I need to spend another $100 to get a hold of those discs, which I could put in right now at any time.
I have it on. Some people have VHS. I have DVD, Blu-ray, and I have it on streaming.
I have the pilot episode on Laserdisc. I've been down this road.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So IMDb is saying the source format was 3.4K very raw, and then they mastered it in 4K.
Yeah, it wasn't shot in 4K, but that's big enough to like
upscale. Yeah.
So, but the question would become: are the effects shots? What were they produced in? What were they rendered in? A lot of times for television, they're rendered at a much lower resolution. That's kind of the problem that they had with the Star Wars movies when the prequels, when they decided to go Blu-ray with them. There was a ton of problems. And for a television project that, again, people already bought once, that's the question, I think. But how huge would it be for everyone on the panel and everyone in the comments if on that day, there was on the last bonus disc had no information on it. When you put it in, you saw a trailer for a new season. Every single person on this panel would think hard about running out to buy that box.
Or if they actually had put another episode in there.
Yeah. What if the movie that's supposedly being worked on is actually going to come out in the box set?
Let's take a look.
No, there's no way they'd do that because they're only making 25,000 copies.
Well, that's how you would up the price real quick, but
and that's how you double dip real fast too.
Wow.
You could release it streaming. I don't think Netflix is involved at all, but just I got back to thinking about how Lynch was supposedly had a meeting at Netflix or whatever back a few months back or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, well, and the other thing too about the 4K thing, I agree with all of that. There's also, I don't think the market is quite there yet. Like, I don't have a 4K TV yet, which, I mean, they're all in 4K now. So as soon as I get a new one, it'll be. But like, DVDs still outsell Blu-rays.
Right.
They still put stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So DVDs are still the bigger platform. Blu-ray's number 2, and 4K is kind of like the new kid on the block. As soon as the cycle goes around and everyone like me gets a new TV, it'll be 4K and I'll be ready to go. But like, I'm not jumping over. I know, Cameron, you got the whole setup and everything, but I mean, 4K is awesome. I don't have the stuff yet to view it. I'm probably going to get the box set. Still haven't pre-ordered it, but like, the 4K stuff's isn't a selling point for me, really. Not yet, anyway. A year from now, maybe, So I don't know.
This is probably the last chance for the Blu-ray format for these, for at least the first 2 seasons too, because it's the most vulnerable format out there is Blu-ray, because the people who are willing to go to 4K will, and the people who are not moving off DVD are not going to Blu-ray. If they do make the move, they'll go all the way to 4K.
Yep.
So Blu-ray as a format has the shortest life left in it. And a lot of people can't see that because it seems like the comfortable format now, but it actually isn't. It's actually the one that's probably going away. So this is the chance to sell those one last time, which is why, I mean, I know I'm talking more about business here than I am about art, and that's probably just stressing on any channel that's devoted to Lynch. But
wait a minute, Lauren, are you suggesting this is a way for Showtime to dump the leftover Blu-rays from the complete mystery box set in this set?
That's absolutely part of it. But I think realistically, the only reason Showtime want to do this or even need to do this is because they need to have content galore that no one else has, and that's getting harder for them. Mm-hmm. With streaming exploding and all the content providers taking back their materials for their own streaming services, this puts Showtime in a position, whereas maybe they weren't happy with the performance of Twin Peaks when it came out, despite their saying they were. But now those numbers probably look pretty damn good. They really probably do, because they'll have an exclusive for a year on it.
Disney Plus is a month away. They got to do something.
Yeah.
And there was that news that dropped. It was from last month that you sent to me about how Showtime's looking to expand in 2020 their programming, right? So the signs are all pointing towards something. Now, what I want to ask you, Lauren, real quick, do you think that you firmly believe that this will be whatever this is will be a Showtime exclusive? So you don't think they're going to put this on CBS All Access and try to drum up those numbers?
I think CBS All Access's formula is a little bit different. It'd be tough for Twin Peaks to really exist in it. Twin Peaks is a premium show, no matter how you look at it. Star Trek is the big All Access show, but that's really a very mainstream, and I don't want to say it's not important, but as franchises go, it's on its death throes really right now. It's going to bring in its audience. It's not going to expand any wider. It is where it is. Twin Peaks is a cult following, but it's a critically acclaimed cult following that's going to get a lot of attention, a lot of news articles, a lot of buzz. I think it's a different animal. I don't think it sits well on All Access, because I don't think the All Access audience that's already there will care about Twin Peaks. Whereas if you're Showtime and you have a choice, you need something like Twin Peaks. It's completely on brand.
Right. Were you surprised with season 3 that Showtime didn't want to split up the season into season 3 and season 4, because it would have kept people around for 2 years?
I was surprised that they had as much resistance once they said okay to the project, because I don't understand how you walk up to David Lynch and say, "Hey, we want you to do that weird thing again," especially after Fire Walk with Me, and then you're surprised when he starts moving the goalposts. I mean, it just, that would be like hiring David Cronenberg and being weirded out when something crazy and sexual happens. Realistically, I kind of.
Well, wait, hold on. Couldn't you argue though that as weird and as out there and as revolutionary as season 3 is of Twin Peaks, it's not. I mean, I still think that even though Ike the Spike killing Lorraine with the ice pick is the most bloodiest death in all of Twin Peaks, they didn't come near anything of Leland killing Maddie in season 3. They didn't even try to go that intense or scary in season 3.
Well, they couldn't, because Maddie was a character you'd invested in, you cared about, and there was a sense of mirroring with Laura. It was something you'd been waiting all this time to see. And besides the train car flashback, which seems to be contradicted, which is another reason I think there's something else going on about reality even earlier in the series, there was just too much buildup to it. I don't think there's that much actual violence on screen during that scene, but it feels incredibly violent because it's a culmination. Whereas you can kill, if you barely know a character who's had, maybe 9 minutes of screen time, tops, it doesn't matter how bloody it is, you're not going to feel the same way.
Right. I'm just saying that, like, season 3 didn't try to go as scary as season 1, 2, even Fire Walk With Me. It played it pretty, I would say for the most part, season 3 is pretty light. It's it spends so much time with Dougie that I think that the tone of it is pretty lighthearted for most of it.
I think that there's some of the Mr. C stuff is pretty dark.
Well, at the beginning, but then he just starts driving a truck and then kind of. But all the Hutch and Chantel stuff, I mean, that's like Quentin Tarantino kind of.
Yeah.
It's very, I'm not scared around Tim Roth and Jennifer Jason Leigh in that movie.
Well, I agree. I mean, it would have been interesting to see the series if Frank Silva was still alive, because I think it would have immediately been darker and more violent, just by the nature of, I mean, the orb is the orb. To me, it's a placeholder. It's saying, okay, we couldn't do what we really wanted to do, so here's an orb with a face in it that's manipulated still.
And for anyone who disagrees with what Lauren says, in the behind the scenes season 3, they actually say to David Lynch, we're getting ready to shoot this big thing in the sheriff's station. And Lynch says, we're gonna have 15 people standing around, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. And his assistant, Scott Cameron, says, we'll take the weekend to think about it. And he goes, I've been thinking about this for years, and I still don't know what I'm gonna do. And it makes sense when you see the final scene to have everyone stand there, and then Freddy comes out and starts punching it. It does kind of seem like something made up on the day, you know?
And you know what's crazy about that is that, and I'm not deriding Frank Silva at all by saying this, because there's no replacing him, but they had Eddie Vedder on the set. One day, half hour in the makeup chair, you have a Bob. It's not crazy.
Pretty close.
There were so many people that they could have picked that would have been almost like an exact replica of Frank, and they didn't. So,
or how about Ray Wise? I'm just saying.
Yeah.
We all that's what we had speculated for years on this show, was that they were gonna utilize Ray Wise to be Bob, because that just would make sense. Especially since Hal was on the show last night, and he actually had dinner and drinks with Ray Wise a little bit ago, and Ray told him that he got there on the set because nobody except for Kyle, no one had read the script. Ray got there on the set, did the scene where he said find Laura, and then they said great, you're done for the and so Ray says, okay, well, when do you want to do whatever we're gonna do next so I can let my agent know? And they said, you're wrapped. We're wrapped. Yeah, you're done. Like he will tell people, like, don't even talk to me about season 3. He is livid that he wasn't more involved, because for 20 years, when nobody else was talking about Twin Peaks, when David Lynch was doing other stuff and Kyle MacLachlan was running away doing all this other stuff, Ray Wise was I met him at the Fangoria convention promoting Jeepers Creepers 2, and I asked them, I said, hey, would you ever work with David Lynch again, blah, blah, blah. And he said, you know what, I'm so happy you're talking to me about this, because nobody talks to me about Twin Peaks. This was like 2003.
Wow.
And it had been 10 years since Fire Walk With Me. That movie bombed. Nobody cared about it. I mean, 2003, Fire Walk With Me was not a misunderstood masterpiece. It was a movie that was completely forgotten on the levels of Boxing Helena at that time. And now it's, this huge Criterion release and all this stuff. So I just felt really bad that Ray Wise was like carrying the flag, and really promoting it. In fact, Lynch is the one that patted him on the knee and said, Ray, the town is still there. So he was the first one to be kind of told that, like, and then they did that whole Between Two Worlds thing from the original box set. And that really made everyone think that, oh, the Palmers are going to play a vital thing in this. You know, and he thought that he was going to be like with the one-armed man, like helping to guide Dougie back to being Cooper to help find Laura. No, he was wrapped in one day after saying the line once with 2 different cameras on him.
Yeah, it's such a shame. And even the stuff with Sherilyn too, like, it's a shame that that's what they decided to do with them. You know, that's why I want to see more. I want to see the continuation now that half the new cast is like dead in the show,
right,
or finished or completed. You know, I'm still wanting to get back to Twin Peaks. Like, I want to see what's happening with Audrey. I want to see, like, I don't care that Norma and Ed had their happy ending, because they've had a happy ending a couple of times. So good for them. That's done. But the rest of it, like, let's finish up with our people, kind of thing.
And like, I loved Grace Zabriskie in all of Twin Peaks, including season 3. I just don't think she needed more to do. She needed more screen time, because I think that they started boxing these characters into like isolated moments, or all within like 1 or 2 episodes, and then that was it. Like, everything having to do with Sarah Palmer should have been spread over the entire season, not just all in the last 3 episodes. Jeremiah's shaking his head. He doesn't agree.
No, I mean, I mean, she's in the thing breaks out of the glass box, and it cuts to, I mean, she's in the first episode. I mean, no one really has I mean, other than Cooper, but like, she's in almost every episode.
Who, Grace Zabriskie?
At least it seems like it, because she's right at the beginning, and then Hawk shows up at the house, and then there's
but that's episode like
10?
9 or 10, so it's like 9 episodes go by.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. When I sit down and like look, then everybody is pretty much spread out that way.
One of the only characters that actually gets a clear arc is Naomi Watts. Like nobody else really gets like a full arc. And that's the Mitchum brothers, maybe too. You know, you could argue. So all these new characters are getting the arcs, and all our other characters, like Big Ed, get like 2 episodes.
Yeah, it's just it's frustrating.
I'm wondering though, if we had gotten the fan service season that everyone kind of expected and wanted.
You mean the one the one that Entertainment Weekly promoted on their covers?
Yeah, for sure. But I think we might have ultimately been disappointed.
I agree.
Yeah,
it would have been the Deadwood movie.
Well,
I've been pushing for, like, all I want is an episode of just Leo trying to escape the spiders. But that's in reality, like, there's no way that plays out, and we're satisfied with it.
No. I'm not opposed to what we got in season 3. I just felt that there was enough time that they could have peppered in some other things in there that would have smoothed things out for some people. It doesn't mean they have to explore it full on, but why not mention Chet Desmond? Just mention him. Why not mention Wyndham Earle? Just mention him. Just say the name. We don't need
was mentioned.
No, Wyndham Earle was not mentioned at all in season 3. No, we say the bonsai tree in New York, but that's about it.
No, there's a speech about what happened to Annie Blackburn.
No, they don't mention his name though.
No,
mention him by name. They mention Annie's name, but that's it.
Hawk
tells Robert Forster when they're going through the diary pages, like, oh, this was, you know, Cooper disappeared, or no, his friend Annie could be Cooper's friend, Annie Blackburn. And I'm pretty sure but Wyndham Earle is in the books.
Right, but remember, Sabrina said that's not the timeline. I find this very fascinating that they, you know, the 2 co-creators have distinctively said, that's your timeline, this is my timeline. You know, so it's like
that makes things easier.
Because that's where they intersect and where they diverge and all of that is like,
yeah.
I mean,
so let me throw this out to you guys. So this is where the title of this episode came from. This is what kind of blew up today on social media. So a friend of Mandy's and mine, I'm not going to say who, but this is somebody that, would you say that this person is a well-trusted friend of yours for a couple decades now, right?
100%.
Right. And I have been talking with him since I've met you, just off and on, but he's a very trusted individual. And he also has, would you say that he has pretty good ties to the Hollywood community, considering just yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So this person reached out to me and was just having a friendly conversation, and then said to me, I believe it was last night, he was at a sort of shindig.
Don't say what it is.
Okay, well, he was at a shindig for a prominent individual that everybody knows.
That's good.
And he was talking with executives. Then, executives, they like to have a drink or two. And so he said, oh, it's, this is kind of crazy, all this Twin Peaks news, people are getting excited about it. And this executive said to him, well, from what I understand, they're doing seasons 4 and 5. And he said, well, wait a minute. I've been hearing it might be maybe a series, maybe a movie. And the guy said, well, they could be doing both. And he goes, you mean like either or? He goes, no, they might be doing both. They might be doing a split season with a movie, either before or in between. So I said, this is what I literally did. I was like, I stood the spit take when he told me. I was like, what on? Are you serious? And he goes, I did the exact same thing. And I said, can I say this out loud? And he goes, go for it, because, there's no proof saying yes or no. But I said seasons 4 and 5. Obviously, it's not going to be 18 episodes each, whatever. So I just threw it out there, and I just said, all in caps, rumor. Hey, I was told that there's a possibility this might be seasons 4 and 5 with a movie in between. And of course, it blew up so much so that like other Twitter accounts and websites started like saying, do not believe the person who tells you that there are multiple seasons out there. Again, I never said that there were. It's just that, and I never said this is confirmed fact. I said rumor. In fact, Jeremiah retweeted it saying, add this to the rumor mill. That's all it is the rumor. But one of the fun things about being Twin Peaks fans and just in fandom in general is to discuss all the fun things. I mean, the possibilities right now are endless. If, either something's going to happen, nothing's going to happen, whatever. But I think at this point, it's really stupid to think that nothing's going to happen. Something's about to happen. We just don't know what. So let me ask you guys this. Do you think there's a possibility that this tipsy executive is actually saying something possibly truthful? Do you think there's a real possibility that they may do 2 seasons, let alone 2 seasons on a movie?
Anything's possible, really. I mean, it seems like nowadays that's kind of how it's done. They're not gonna. I mean, this still could be just a movie or a little tiny thing for sure.
And when I say seasons, I think it could be 6 episode seasons.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that too. But I mean, it could be something super small. But like, I just don't see somebody as big as Showtime or CBS or whoever, like, if I was Showtime and I had the opportunity to lock this down, I wouldn't just lock down a 90-minute movie that's going to be up and gone. Like, you're going to try to do something more than that. I'm just shocked because, like, I don't know. We don't even know if Frost is involved. We don't, to what degree. We don't know if Lynch is involved. I'm sure he is. I'm sure both of them are to a certain degree. But, if I was Showtime and this came about, I would be like, yeah, we're going to do a movie and, a 6-episode miniseries, and then with another 6-episode miniseries, option for the next year. Like, I would try to get a package deal, sure.
But we're all in agreement, right? That with this Newsweek article dropping this morning, the fact that nothing has been said by 5 o'clock today, as fast as Lynch is and his company is in terms of squashing down rumors, the fact that nothing has been said, the silence is speaking volumes.
Yeah. So I was going to tell you this right before I came on. So this guy, Bino Rojo on Twitter, he tweeted out, he said, it just like a passing joke. Like my Twitter feed is full of everyone tweeting obsessively about Twin Peaks and Mark Frost tweeting everything else besides Twin Peaks. And I responded, I was like, oh yeah, for sure. My feed all day today is Newsweek. Twin Peaks is coming back. Mark Frost. Hey, check out this camouflaged octopus.
Yeah.
And so this dude, the guy that posted it, Bino, replied. He was like, "Ha ha, exactly." And Mark Frost liked the tweet.
Exactly.
So
wow.
they know something. Everyone knows that we all think that something's happening. And I mean, yeah, it's like the Amy Shields thing. Like that was squashed within like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like the rumors that have come up get officially squashed. It seems like. I mean, I don't know how many. There probably hasn't actually been that many.
But when Lynch got on that Donald Trump drama, they squashed that real quick. Whenever something happens, they squash it quick. This thing has gone on for 4 days now, and there's been no comment from anybody.
Yeah, and Newsweek's pretty serious. Like, I'm not saying the museum guys aren't credible. I think they are, and like, I think all this stuff is quote unquote credible. But like, Newsweek's not like a fanzine. Like, that's it's like Time Magazine. It's like a legit.
Yeah.
You could argue the quality of their content or whatever, but I mean, that's, it's a legitimate media outlet going, hey, this is what we think's happening, and no one, Showtime, everyone's just super quiet. So something is happening for sure.
Absolutely. Now you can sit back and wait for the the official team to say anything, but just let the fans have their fun, and people are coming up with all kinds of ideas and fun things. I think it's fantastic. I think that the Twin Peaks fan community is the healthiest it's ever been today in years. It got splintered and fractured in so many different ways, from infights and people taking sides about whatever. And now I feel like with this news, just the possibility, I mean, my Twitter feed went up like 100 subs like this afternoon, because so many people now want to come together and celebrate. Even if it's nothing happening, people want to celebrate just the idea that something could happen. And I was overjoyed by it. I had a big smile on my face all day long, because it just, I felt happy. So, Now, Lorne, I know you can be a cynical SOB sometimes, but you are like, what do you take away from all this? The fact that for 4 days now they just haven't said anything.
Well, it depends. I mean, it could be that they're only passingly aware of what's going on Twitter. That's not impossible. Sometimes we can be shocked about how tone deaf Hollywood can be to their own fans. It's an industry that still judges a film's worth based on its opening weekend, when we know that that's not even close to the financial reality.
These people are being tagged on everything, though.
Right, but how seriously are they taking it? We have no idea. And maybe it's funny to them. I don't know. But I honestly do believe something is happening, only because there's too many instances. If it was one thing that happened, one person speaking up, even if they didn't shoot it down because maybe it's to someone's advantage to let things fly, that'd be one thing. The fact that there's too many voices in, and that major news outlets, I just don't see Newsweek or Movie Hole or any of the other places that have spoken up on this going to press with something that was completely unsubstantiated.
Exactly.
They have to have something, even if they can't confirm it outright. They have to have something.
Because they don't want to be sued.
Well, they might not be sued, but they definitely would lose some of their credibility with some of their audience.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're willing to do that over Twin Peaks, frankly. I mean, so. But as far as your real question that you asked, what do I take of their silence? I think there may be even legal concerns. There may be licensing involved for certain aspects of the show. And if they said the launch date when we announce it is this, they may not be able to say anything. And it might not be a matter of non-disclosure acts. It might be actual contract law. So hang tight. I mean, they won't last. It won't last forever. There is a date on a board somewhere.
Right, but in the meantime, we have Kyle like teasing us like every day. This is a guy who didn't speak about Twin Peaks for 20 years, and now almost every day since season 3, or even before season 3, and all the way through up until now, he's been posting Twin Peaks pictures every day, if not every week.
Right. I think there's going to be a merch blitz that's going to happen too, because they have that contest that's going on.
Exactly.
It's just like, I don't know. It's all, yeah.
What contest?
On the wall.
You saw that.
They're having a graphic design contest. Basically, people are submitting their Twin Peaks designs. There's all these rules for what they can and cannot say or put on the print or the design.
To Showtime?
Yeah.
Well, no,
official Twin Peaks contest.
Yeah, because because we did that show where we talked about how why aren't they just contacting the Twin Peaks artists and having them do it?
We said it time and time.
And then 2 weeks later, they create this thing like, oh, you're gonna submit your ideas via TeePublic or whatever it is, and then we're gonna look at.
That's ridiculous. What a waste of time.
Well, we don't want to have another Christmas sweater debacle like they did. They made a Fire Walk With Me Christmas sweater.
That thing is hilarious. I love that. But the merchandising this time around has just been so. It's just kind of embarrassing.
I love the merchandising from seasons 1 and 2 because you couldn't find it in stores. It was like it was all like mail order. You had to like check the box and like remember how it is to get the trading cards and all that. You couldn't find those in the stores.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that this is definitely an effort to get out of the merch slump. So I watched your video that you did about it, and I actually, if I wasn't so busy with other stuff, I came up with some ideas. I started sketching stuff out, and it was cool because you remember the list of restrictions was like it was like you can't do the thing, and owl cave, and you can't say this, and you like so it's like I was way into that idea with like all these restrictions. So I had to like really think about. So I started doing designs with like the orbs and stuff. So that was the other problem with season 3 because it was like so different, right? So like everyone was expecting cherry pie and coffee and all that cute stuff, and like the return is like orbs and the atomic bomb, and you know what I mean? So it's like if you were gonna do a design on season 3, like I said, like I started drawing like gold orb and this and that, like just because like they couldn't lead with any of that stuff. If they'd have come out with T-shirts with I am a tulpa with a gold, you know what I mean? It would have gave everything away, or would have what? But now you got a T-shirt that's like tulpa with a big gold dot on it. People be like, oh, Twin Peaks, right on.
Yeah.
I was surprised by those list of rules because Lynch has always said his mom gave him blank pieces of paper because a coloring book had too much restrictions. She wanted him just to draw whatever. But at the same time, the opposite is true. To have so many restrictions, it does make you get very creative when you have that many. There was like 75 rules on that thing. It was ridiculous.
It was nuts.
Somebody did contact me and says, well, we know one actor that won't return. That's Michael J. Anderson. So.
Well, yeah. But that's the kind of the whole, I'm not the biggest fan or whatever, but like Jack White, the White Stripes thing, like the whole White Stripes thing, it's like red, white, black, and we're going to use the same color scheme. We're going to use the same guitars. We're only going to record on 4-track tapes. Like he purposefully like limited the scope of what they can do to focus on. I don't know if you guys are Tool fans, but Tool's kind of the same. Like every song's in drop D. They all kind of sound the same. It's just about like how different the writing of the song can get. So I don't know. I just sometimes restrictions are like.
Yeah, I found this. It was Redbubble.
Okay.
Yeah.
Running the content.
So Lauren's talking about dates on boards and when they might legally. Here's my question. How long can they keep this fervor up before the fans turn on it with no news? Because they can't let this go on for like 3 weeks and then then the fans die. Because then when something comes out, it's like, we're gonna go through this again. I think they're probably gonna end up announcing it. They're gonna be forced to somehow by next week. And this weekend is is the UK Twin Peaks Fest.
Yeah.
And it coincides with October 6th. So, I mean, what better way for David Lynch to show up on screen and be like, hello, everybody, we're going to do another season.
I will eat crow if this October 6th thing is a thing.
The question is, why October 6th? What was it about the first time around October 6th? Was there a reason?
I never even looked into it. I have no idea.
Nick says fans will never turn on this. We're all nerds. We're going to be here.
Yeah,
mean,
that's pretty true.
I mean, Lynch is going to have his art show in New York next month, too. Apparently. I'm going to try to go to that.
Lorne,
have you been to his art shows before?
No.
Lorne, you look deep in thought. What's going through your mind?
I don't think there's an answer to any of this because I think that until we know what's happening from a business standpoint as well as a creative standpoint, this is all like really spitballing. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's a fun conversation. But I feel like at the end of the day, we're all going to be wrong.
Yeah.
I think about everything because we were the last time too.
Well, the same thing with season 3. We spent every episode we did like 5 episodes in a week, like through the whole summer, dissecting it and talking about it, and we were wrong about every single thing.
And the thing is, like, if you would have talked to me back then, I would have been like, well, what are your third rails to me? Oh, well, we can never show Diane, right? Would have been my absolute first thing. I would say I don't want it to be Laura fan service. I don't want it to be another redemption arc. Basically, Lynch found a way to do everything that I thought they shouldn't do, but make it work for me. So anything now, yeah, pretty much. So anything that seems too outlandish or too off the rails probably is where it's going. So I'm going in thinking I shouldn't try and guess this thing at all. And that's what we want from Twin Peaks ultimately anyway. The first time the Red Room came up on screen, the first time you saw it, your mind just went in a whole lot of directions, and that's what's going to happen all over again.
Maybe we have to start looking at some old commercials or music videos or something. The Golden Orb was in that Michael Jackson tour commercial, or whatever.
Yeah, it's true. The Orb is in it's in everything he's done.
I always get a little bit worried because Twin Peaks is this very special thing. I was, I was a 18-year-old when the show premiered, and I came on a little late, but I caught it during the reruns over the summer before the second season. Caught up mostly, screamed out to everyone I knew. If anyone had them on tape that I'd missed, kind of compile it together because this is the days before anything was really available, and it made my fandom very, very, very strong. The fact that you look at 25 years didn't diminish it. There's not many things that can say that. So I was fearful as much as I was excited last time, and I don't want to lose that. So I don't want anyone to be right. I want to be surprised. I want to feel like this is Twin Peaks. This is something you can't predict, you can't see coming. And no matter what my pet theory is, the thing I said earlier about a show within the show, I hope I'm wrong. Because I hope the answer is more mysterious, and I hope it gets to be a deeper mystery. I never want to see a day when Twin Peaks resolves itself, because that's the day when all of it was worthless to me.
Interesting. But what about the let's say the George Lucas factor here? Like, is there a part of any of us that says, well, Lynch is having a hard time seeking financing for other projects he wants to do, but he knows he can get money for Twin Peaks, so he'll find a way to still tell the stories he wants to tell within the world of Twin Peaks? Is that being smart as an artist, or do you feel like that condemns him to just be stuck having to only do Twin Peaks because that's all he can get financing for? To me, I find it ingenious that he was able to take things from Ronnie Rocket and stick it into season 3 because he couldn't get the financing to do Ronnie Rocket. So let's do Ronnie Rocket in Twin Peaks.
They made a little sandbox for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was awesome.
And also, when you have something that they got, from the original script of Fire Walk With Me, and they cut it out, but it's in the missing pieces, the is it future, is it past? When you have that as your mantra, you can get away with everything.
Mhm.
Pretty much.
They open it wide. They could do it whatever they want, really.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of where I think the anthology approach would even make more sense for the new season, because you could basically do a shortened version of one saliva bubble and no one would blink.
Right.
Yeah. I could see it happening. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but I could see it happening.
It'd be interesting if there was like, since there's talk about a movie or a series and we don't know, again, just total speculation here, but like, wouldn't it be interesting if Lynch was doing a like Carrie Page Fire Walk with Me style, like intimate movie, and then the series is like kind of helmed by Frost and, you know, other directors, and like, wouldn't it be weird if they like, I'm curious if what the series, if it's not an anthology series, like that kind of thing is kind of what I want to see. But if they went more like a traditional, I don't know, like something to compete with like freaking Riverdale or something. You know what I mean? Like a more like.
Well, they made a Riverdale reference in season 3.
Yeah. But like maybe Lynch is going to do a crazy wild movie that, you know, half the fans aren't going to like last time, or, you know, and then maybe Frost and team are going to do, I don't know.
Well, Jeremiah, what did you take away when you saw online that Rebecca Del Rio was doing a private concert inside the Palmer House?
I don't know. Like, to me, for some reason, that didn't factor into my guessing game. Like, I just.
But it is a strange meeting of the worlds. So.
Yeah, for sure. But in my mind, like, it kind of makes sense. Like, you know, Mary's super welcoming and all of that, and Rebecca might have just been up there for fun.
I think she was doing a concert in Seattle or something like that.
Oh, yeah. So like maybe and Rebecca's like a fan, I believe. Like
obviously she's wearing a Black Lodge dress in the
she seems like she's a little bit more involved in the whole Lynch world, and so I don't know. I think that could have been just like a spur of the moment thing. Maybe she contacted Mary, or maybe Mary went and saw her show and invited her to the house the next day, and they just were like having a picnic or something.
No. I'm not saying that means that there's going to be another season. I'm saying that it's just another weird thing all happening all at once that shows that there's movement within the Lynch world.
Yeah. So even though it doesn't seem to be connected, Mark Frost just tweeted out a gold shovel thing, but it was in a reference to like, you know, to the Trump administration doing something, and he just retweeted a gold shovel and said, "I think we all need one of these," or something like that. So is that about Twin Peaks, or is that just him being mad at Donald Trump? You know, like, but yeah, no, I agree. Like, it just seemed like the Kyle Donut tweet, and Rebecca Del Rio at the Palmer House, and my next video is almost done. There's that.
Push that thing out.
But anyway, you know, there's definitely like.
Are you rendering your video right now?
Part of it, yeah. So, yeah, I was just like you. I was excited all day. So I was at work all day.
Yeah.
Just like, just slamming coffee and just super excited, and like people tweeting and people speculating and just like kind of putting this all. So I had started like this morning. I woke up and I started like a bullet point thing of like, okay, there was this tweet and museum people, and then the Hawk Instagram post, and the this and the that. And then I was like, okay, cool. So like, you know, maybe at the end of the day, I'll do a live stream or jump on with Cameron, and then we can kind of like walk through. But like within 2 hours, like Newsweek, like everything else started coming out too. And it was just like, all right, it's beyond like, it's beyond a couple tweets at this point. Like we were just saying, like outlets like Newsweek don't put their name on stuff if.
So let me ask you this.
They don't want to ruin their credibility totally. And,
Okay.
you know, they don't want to.
Right.
That can't afford to stick their neck out too far.
And again, I want to make it very clear. I'm not saying this because I'm calling anybody out or anything like that. But I'm curious if Newsweek's ready to run with a story like this. Why aren't the big, websites in the Twin Peaks community running anything about this? They're refusing to. They're saying we're checking with our sources. They haven't said anything, so we're not going to say anything. But if Newsweek's running with it, why on earth are they not running with it? I understand it's a personal choice, et cetera, et cetera. It just seems weird if you are running the big sites that you're not. Your silence is speaking volumes too, to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
No idea.
Joey doesn't want to get controversial. I'm not saying this to be controversial. Isn't it just strange that the people who are the supposedly the big names in the community, they're either not talking about it or they're making fun of the people who are talking about it. They're like saying, or they're saying like, everyone just chill, relax, don't just breathe and relax. It's like, wait a minute, why can't we have fun here talking about this? This is all it is. It's fun.
That's my attitude, is just having fun, and like I don't have any kind of like credibility to damage. Like I don't. If this all turns into nothing, and it was just like, oh yeah, you remember that one week in 2019 when everything sucked, and for about 6 hours everyone was excited. Wasn't that great?
Exactly.
Remember when the ice caps were melting and the world was all burning down? But that for like 15 minutes, I was excited about Twin Peaks might come back.
It's fun. If nothing comes of it, I'm not going to shed a tear. Like it was fun. Like whatever.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I personally just think this is just a lot of fun, and I'm just happy, just being happy.
Yeah, I agree. Like I was a big proponent of don't bring it back. I think that there's kind of a finality. The return kind of, even though it's totally open-ended and ambiguous and all that, it just felt like a bookend to the whole thing. And I was just like, yeah, don't bring it back. Like, don't screw it up. Like, don't. And plus, the Lynch and Frost, like, to be fair, they're old, and the return was full of Lynch stuff. I felt that it was like a seminal work, and it reflected on his whole career. And, Frost put out 2 books, and they worked on it for, you could say more like 10 years they worked on it. I know Lynch said it took 4 years to do it, but I mean, they started talking in 2010, 2012, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, it took them a long time to do it. This was like a lightning in the bottle thing, whatever, like don't. And then, like, this week, I was just like, hey, all right. Come back, all right. So.
Yeah, a friend posted or commented on one of my posts, says, they better get started. Lynch's lungs are at 120 years right now. So.
That's funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, we have nearly 400 people watching us live right now.
God.
So there is an appetite out there for people wanting to discuss the subject matter, obviously. So anyway, I'm curious to see what's going to happen next, because I know tomorrow there's probably going to be a bunch of other things.
Yeah, what's going to happen tomorrow at this point?
I don't know. I hope to God nothing, because I have things to do.
Yeah, exactly. I gotta get some stuff done tomorrow. I can't be all. But it'll be a lull. Like like you said, it's probably only going to be like, if nothing happens by the 6th or on the 6th. Of course, there's 10/10. There's 10/10, which is 2 10s. There's October 10th, maybe.
So if they do it at 10:10 a.m. on October 10th,
maybe.
I mean, New York Comic Con is also this weekend. I don't think they'll do it.
They will never announce
that it's
anything at
happening.
New York Comic Con.
I'll be there. That's why I want.
I know, but New York Comic Con is not a place where they make announcements. That's where the leftovers typically go.
No, I don't think anything's gonna happen at Comic-Con.
Yeah, it'll be a simultaneous Lynch and Frost tweet.
I don't know. They did that last time, so I'm thinking it's going to be something completely
Different.
different again. And I just wouldn't be shocked if it's in conjunction with the box sets that are coming out, one or the other. That just makes good sense to me.
So that first one comes out like in 2 weeks, right?
November is the first one, and then December is the big one.
Okay. I don't think I can wait that long.
I don't think it's gonna. If it's gonna be what Lauren says, it's gonna be the December one. It won't be the November one.
December 10th.
Ah,
If they announced the day before the box set was released that there was that they made the announcement and said there was exclusive material on the box set, is there a chance that any Twin Peaks fan doesn't run out and buy it
I don't think it's in the stores
at all?
I don't know. I mean, it seems to be almost like an Amazon exclusive at this point.
I think that first box set, the complete TV collection, will be in stores. I think if you go to Best Buy at Christmas season or whatever, you're going to see Best Buy doesn't even have movies anymore. Half of them don't. Anyway.
And also, it doesn't.
You go to a store with physical media in it, it's going to have the complete TV collection or whatever it's called. But that Z to A thing is probably, I can't imagine seeing that.
And so with the fact that it's called Z to A and the fact that the previous box set was the complete mystery, they keep putting these this is the end, and then you get something else.
It's so funny.
I think there's going to be something weird with that bigger box set.
You think so?
Like it, right?
It better be more than just the packaging, because that looks horrible.
Oh, I was so mad when I saw the packaging, and
Yeah.
the fact that they're so obsessed with Diane, how they've got a little cardboard cutout of Diane in there, and I'm like, she is the least important character. Why are you? Sure, it's Laura Dern, but it just bugs me. But it wouldn't be me on the show without a rant, right?
Well, that's okay, because Dan in the chat says this video is nothing but all speculation and BS.
Sure,
Well,
it is.
Sure
it
We're
is.
having fun.
Yeah, and 400 other people are having fun. So, calm down.
That's hilarious.
And I love the fact that people want to just come into the chat and just, again, poo-poo everybody talking about it because everyone's having a good time, and you got to be the one that, has to rain on the parade. Addison says,
we're all filming Twin Peaks right now. This is an episode.
Exactly. Matthias says, tell Mandy I love her.
Hi, Matthias. I haven't seen you for so long.
Herbertran says, we having the best BSing fun.
Absolutely.
Addison says, it's fun to just speculate as passionate fans who share a common love for a great TV series. Addison, I want to thank you for that, because listen, when I was younger, I had a couple friends that watched Twin Peaks and we would talk about it on the phone. This is the equivalent of the phone conversation now, where you would just all sit around and be like, what do you think about this? And what do you think about this? But now we get to do it in front of 400 people. So, and let's see. Lisa says, I have to go out all day tomorrow. I always turn my phone's data off when I go out to conserve battery. I'm going to be wondering all day if I'm missing something. Absolutely. I think that happened. Somebody, they went away for an hour and they come back and they contacted me and they said, now there's 2 seasons and a movie? What the hell is going on?
Tomorrow there's going to be a theme park.
Yes. Herbertran says, I love hanging out here talking with all you amazing people. Thank you very much. Twin Peaks Outside the City Limits is here. Says 2017 was fun, but 2020 is going to be great.
Yippers.
If it does come back and it's like they try to replicate, I do kind of think that Lauren may be onto something. I don't think they're going to just do it over the summer again. I think they would kind of do it, maybe not once every 3 months or something like that, but maybe once a month they would drop another episode or something like that. I could see them doing that.
Yeah, I could see that.
For 12 for a year straight,
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Right.
Awesome.
And then Deming has all the all the seasons, all the B-roll for every season.
Because what you could do then is not just drop out your entire season on 4K or Blu-ray. You could drop every episode as an isolated release. If it was like a 90-minute, 2-hour episode every month, you could do that. You can make a lot of money doing that.
I think that's got to be part of it. If they're going to bother coming back, Showtime has to find a way to maximize the value to them.
Yeah.
So it can't be over in 2 months. It just can't be. If they're going to bother with it.
Nick says, crap, the Chromatics just dropped their album 18 minutes ago, and I forgot. I'm too caught up in this conversation.
Yeah, I did. That's another weird coincidence that's probably not a coincidence, but it's coincidence enough that makes you go,
All right, what about Liquid Night says, I don't want to burst any bubbles, but I think all this Twin Peaks chatter just has to do with the VR game that they promoted at the Festival of Disruption. Do you think that's what this all is about? It's no one plays VR.
no one plays. I mean, if you went somewhere to like a thing, like, I mean, maybe my in-laws have a VR system that's kind of cool, but like, you really think Michael Horst would be tweeting cryptic shit because they got a VR game coming out? Like,
Sitting in his bedroom with his Oculus on.
I don't know. He lives in Berkeley. Like, he seems pretty cool. Maybe that's his thing.
He was an early investor in an Oculus Rift.
All about the VR head.
Roland says, I bet Criterion releases the whole series and the films on 4K in a few years.
Great. So we have to spend more money buying.
Addison says,
man.
I can't wait to watch the new episodes and then hurry into this channel to share the experience with you all again. I miss that excitement. Morton is from Norway is here, says, wouldn't it be nice if we got a movie and maybe 2 more seasons? Nice watching you, but I have to go to work. Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's fun just to talk and speculate, especially since we're like, I'm in California. Joey, where are you?
New Jersey.
Mandy, where are you?
Vancouver.
Canada. Jeremiah, where are you?
Indiana.
And where?
Indianapolis, Indiana.
Indiana. And then Lauren, where are you?
Jersey.
Jersey. We got two Jersey boys here. Lauren was just at the. Did you go to the Friday the 13th camp thing, or
no,
just?
I don't live far from it, so it's not really a thing for me to have to go to the event. I just met Piz there for lunch, basically.
Okay, so they did this big event where you could stay at the Friday the 13th camp and watch Friday the 13th there and have a whole experience there, and the original camp from the original movie, right? So that's pretty awesome. But you know, like you were talking about that, like right down the street from me is where they shot Monterey Pop, you know, Jimi Hendrix. That's where I learned how to put a tent up, you know, as a Cub Scout. Like no one cares about that place, but you see people coming by going, look at the venue. It's like, no, that's just, you know, it's where they do the county fair every year. So, it's funny though. It's like you don't, you know, we got people coming up to this area for Big Little Lies and things like that. And it's like, yeah, that's the beach. Yeah, that's the beach. Who cares?
They just shot actually around the corner. They just shot the new Winona Ryder HBO show.
Oh wow, there's a Winona Ryder doing HBO now.
Yeah, The Plot Against America, I think it's called.
Oh,
What's that?
Is that a better shoplifting experience?
You know what?
The Shop Against
You
America.
need to get over that.
You know what I need to get over is them ever making Heathers 2. So
Hey! Don't mess with perfection.
I know, but the idea they had for Heathers 2 is too genius to ignore.
Was Daniel Waters going to come back and write it? Because if
Yes,
not,
he was. Yeah.
That screenplay for Heathers is perfect. There was 2 scenes they took out, and that's it. Otherwise, it's exactly what ended up on screen.
Exactly.
That does not happen.
The original idea for Heathers 2 was that Ronica was going to get a job in Washington, and that she was just going to be surrounded by Heathers, and then she was going to have to deal with the inner structure of like dealing with Washington, and then Christian Slater was going to play like a CIA agent or something that she teamed up with to kill all the Heathers.
Has to be better than the pilot for that failed reboot.
Oh my goodness! Yeah.
So we have a couple comments here. Focus on the Donut says David Lynch could ask all of us to sell him our souls, and we would do it.
Yeah.
And I listen, Lauren. This is going after a soft spot in your heart. Roland says, you know who needs to come back to the Lynch universe? Brad Dourif.
Oh yeah.
He only had one small part in Blue Velvet, and he is made for Lynch as well.
Mhm.
Hey, he's a perfect fit.
He's in Dune.
Oh, that's right.
He is, that's right.
That's right.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Because I remember when Fire Walk with Me came out, there were a whole bunch of critics who loved Mike Figgis's film Liebestrom, and they said, "Great, David Lynch cast Pamela Gidley in Fire Walk with Me, and then didn't use her, like she's barely in the film. He could have done amazing things with that actress, but Teresa Banks is basically like a glorified cameo in that film. So, let's see. Manuel says Cooper knocked 7 times on the Palmer's door. No one answers, so he knocks 6 times, and Alice answers. Okay,
that's cool. I'm interested in that.
And Andy Phantom says Liebestrom is cool as shit. So, Dad Duda says Brad Dourif does play Lynchian characters in several Herzog films. And Cynic Kill says, what about Crispin Glover? Crispin Glover has been in 2 Wild at Heart and Hotel Room. He had a huge segment in the third story of Hotel Room with Alicia Witt.
If Crispin Glover ever shows up in Twin Peaks, I will die. That would be the best thing ever.
Now, Mandy, you actually went to the set of Twin Peaks when they were shooting season 3.
Yes.
And you saw the scene where Mark Frost meets Harry Dean Stanton. But of course, you told me he was a woodsman.
Okay, you know what? He was far away and he was wearing a big, huge overcoat.
He does.
Literally the worst. I'm like, I send him a text one day and I'm like, oh my gosh, I think it was a woodsman. They're going to kill Harry. And it's like, no, it was Mark Frost. I'm an idiot. Anyway, yes, it was cool. I didn't get cool pictures like the way everybody else did. And I wasn't there like the day that Machen was on the car and all that kind of stuff. But, it was just it was a cool atmosphere. There were a lot of fans out there. And, sorry, were you actually going to ask a question about that?
No. I'm just saying it was cool that you were there.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, that was fun. Sorry, I'm getting tired now.
Oh yeah, the Chromatics concert I went to a couple months ago, it was all Twin Peaks. All the visuals were like Twin Peaks. All the people there were wearing Laura Palmer t-shirts.
Really? Damn it.
Yeah.
I was gonna go. That tour a couple months ago, they were in Chicago, and I couldn't get away. I was going to go up there.
They're pretty great. Pretty great.
People are demanding that Willem Dafoe comes back in a David Lynch film. The problem is once you are Frank Booth or Bobby Peru, you can't come back and do another character. Like it's just like that. You are Bobby Peru and Frank Booth.
That'd be a tough one, yeah.
I don't think Dennis Hopper could have come back and played Robert Loggia's part in Lost Highway without you going, oh, it's Frank Booth light, so. But all right, well, I think we pretty much exhausted everything we could possibly say about what's happening at this second. So we will see what happens. But all right, so let's go around this table. Joey, where can people find you on the internet?
Hey, you can find me at Joey Pedris on Twitter, Instagram, and just search that on YouTube to find my channel.
Jeremiah, people are demanding your videos. They want to know where you've been and why you're slacking. So where can people find you on the internet?
I just put it in the chat, but oh crap, I lost my thing. TakeTheRing.com goes to my YouTube channel, and at TakeTheRing430 on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And the sneak peek that I showed you and Joey a few weeks back, I'll be posting that this week. So you guys will get the next video is 27 minutes long.
Jesus.
And I showed you guys the first 3 minutes, and I'm going to put that out as a sneak peek this week. My goal is to get final sound mixing and graphics done over the next 2 weeks, and I guarantee my next video will be out before the end of the month. So there will be episode 4 of The Ring will be out before November 1st, I promise.
Lisa says, I'm loving all this Twin Peaks chat, speculation, and anticipation. And Pippinek says, take The Ring. Will you please do a strip tease for Mandy?
What? What is happening?
I don't know. Mandy, where can people find you on the internet?
Twitter, I'm at JarsGirl. Instagram, I'm at JarsGirl2. And that's it.
But you also, you know, we all live near cool places, and you actually live near where they shot all the Twilight movies.
Yes. Well, kind of. What?
How many times have you been to Bella's house?
A lot. It was totally fun. You know, I took a week off of work because they moved production obviously up to Vancouver, right? From the first movie, and I'd taken a week off at one point and went with my best friend, and we were driving around, and that was a great time. But this is not the time to talk about it. So
No.
we'll talk about Twilight another time.
But Bill in the chat says, what if all this cool news is just that David Lynch releases a new edit of Dune?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, well, that's better. That's even cooler than Twin Peaks.
In fact, they asked David Lynch that at the Missing Pieces premiere. They said, now that you've done this, when are you going to go back and fix Dune? He laughs at the interviewer and walks away. It's fantastic. Shannon in the chat says, Evelyn and James had a better romance than Twilight.
I hate that episode so much.
Controversial.
Well, I just hate James that much.
Well, remember Brad Dukes, who wrote the book Reflections on Twin Peaks after episode 8, went online and said Evelyn and James is better than episode 8. And that went crazy through the community, let me tell you. Roland says Dune will get the Shout Factory treatment at some point.
Yeah, hopefully. There's actually great stuff. Yeah,
ooh. Manuel says, remember the scene in The Missing Pieces where Cooper says to Diane, I try to forget that scene, but let's keep going, that she moved the clock a bit to the left. Remember episode 17 in season 3, the clock ticks left, then right. Interesting. You might have to make a 45-minute video about that, Jeremiah.
Don't tempt me out with it.
No, I feel like very happy, but very mentally drained from today. But Lauren, okay, where can people find you? There's various places people can find you.
Yeah, on Twitter at Lauren Dixon, on YouTube, Visited by Voices 1, and the Sausage Factory podcast whenever it actually happens.
And coming up, I believe this Thursday, you're being forced to watch both Rob Zombie Halloween films.
No, I believe we're only watching one on Thursday and one on the next Thursday because we want to survive and have some brain cells intact.
And you actually went the extra mile. You had to order those because you refused to have them in your collection.
Yes, absolutely. And I am going to do a completely immoral thing afterwards and destroy them on camera. I know you're not supposed to destroy art, but sometimes it's the most artful thing you can do.
Will you give us a tease as how you will destroy these DVDs?
Well, my intention originally was to burn them, but I'm told that's not safe to burn plastic in a room. So it might simply be a break and smash and probably cut myself in the process. So it'll be moving no matter what.
I think Red Letter Media used to send them down like a shaft or something like that, and they would explode them. So
send your suggestions too.
Bill Cole makes a joke here, says Alicia Witt just tweeted the scummy boyfriend you like is coming back in style. So maybe it's a spin-off with those two.
Yes, this show all about Steven.
Everybody loves Steven.
Everybody loves Steven.
Everybody loves Steven.
That's what it's called.
It's gonna be amazing.
Oh wow, yeah, that would be quite something. All right, everybody. Well, here you go. We have a YouTube channel, Obnoxious Anonymous. You've been watching it for the last 2 hours. If you are new here and you're like, oh, I love David Lynch, I love Twin Peaks, please hit the subscribe button, click that little bell so you're notified when we're live, because a lot of people are not clicking it apparently and not knowing when we're going live. We have a Facebook, we have a Twitter, and give you all the stuff. Here's the email, PayPal, and if you like snail mail stuff, send me stuff. I like doing unboxings on camera. They're a lot of fun. Also, since a lot of you guys are new, I am making a cool little fan film about Annie Blackburn. Everyone's been talking in the chat about where's Annie? Where's Annie? Well, I'm making a film about Annie. So there's a Twitter account for that, Queen of Hearts, TP, and also there's a Facebook page, a group page for the film. And we just did I made a joke about this last time, but I'll say it again. You know how I know this thing is real and there's going to be another season or movie coming out? Because I just did a table read for Queen of Hearts yesterday or 2 days ago. So, and that's usually the way things work out, right? Once you finally get things together, something comes around to knock you on your ass. So, anyway, Nick says visited by voices. I can't find it. It's visited by voices 1, correct? Right.
It is.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Really appreciate it. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, and we will see you soon. Take it easy and share this video if you out there in the Twin Peaks community, and let people know that Obnoxious Anonymous and all of us and on all our various forums, Twitter, YouTube channels, we're going to be covering all this Twin Peaks news until the next inevitable installment comes out. So, all right, everybody.
See you tomorrow. Yeah.
See you tomorrow. Take it easy. Good night.